Keanu Reeves fulfills the wish of a sick child who is lying in the hospital. The ending is surprising. Keanu Reeves had always been known for his kindness, but today was different. Today he was about to fulfill a special request, one that he couldn't ignore. A little boy named Daniel, just 8 years old, was lying in a hospital bed, battling a rare illness. His biggest wish? To meet Keanu Reeves, his favorite actor. When Keanu heard about it through a foundation, he immediately rearranged his schedule and showed up at the hospital, dressed casually in a black jacket and jeans, holding a small gift bag. Daniel's eyes lit up as soon as Keanu walked into the room. "Whoa, it's really you," he gasped, weakly but with excitement. Keanu sat beside him, smiling warmly. "It's really me, buddy. I heard you wanted to meet me, so here I am." They spent the next hour talking about movies, motorcycles, and space, Daniel's favorite subject. Keanu even did some funny impressions of his own movie characters, making Daniel laugh harder than he had in weeks. Finally, Keanu handed him the gift bag. Inside was a toy spaceship signed with a note. "To my friend Daniel, keep dreaming. The stars are waiting for you, Keanu Reeves." Tears welled up in Daniel's eyes. "Thank you, Keanu. This is the best day ever." Keanu ruffled his hair. "You're strong, kid. Never stop believing." Days passed, and Daniel's condition worsened. The hospital called Keanu, telling him the boy didn't have much time left. Without hesitation, Keanu visited again, this time staying for hours, holding Daniel's hand, telling him stories about space and adventures beyond the stars. And then, one night, something unexpected happened. Daniel closed his eyes, smiling, and whispered, "I think I'm going to the stars now." Keanu, holding his hand, felt a chill, but then a strange warmth. The room seemed to glow for a moment, and Daniel's breathing steadied. Doctors rushed in, expecting the worst. But instead, they were stunned. Daniel's condition had suddenly improved. Miraculously. The doctors couldn't explain it. His vitals were stronger. His breathing was stable. Over the next few weeks, Daniel continued to recover. And as for Keanu, he just smiled as if he knew something no one else did. "The universe works in mysterious ways," he simply said. Keanu Reeves put his phone down, staring at the sky with quiet contemplation. The city lights shimmered below, but his eyes were fixed on that one bright star. A gentle breeze passed, almost like a whisper in the night. He closed his eyes for a moment, listening. Not with his ears, but with something deeper. The next morning, Keanu visited the hospital again, expecting to see Daniel awake and smiling. But as he stepped into the room, he found the bed empty, neatly made as if no one had been there. Confused, he turned to a nurse passing by. "Daniel, where is he?" Keanu asked, his voice calm but uncertain. The nurse looked at him strangely. "Daniel," she repeated. "Yes, the little boy in this room. I visited him a few days ago." The nurse hesitated before answering. "I'm sorry, but there's been no patient named Daniel here. Not recently." Keanu's expression didn't change, but inside, something shifted. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the small toy spaceship he had given Daniel. It was still there, real. He looked at the window, back at the sky. The bright star flickered again. A soft chuckle escaped Keanu's lips, and he whispered under his breath, "I get it now. Safe travels, kid." As Keanu left the hospital, a strange sense of peace washed over him. The world around him felt the same, yet different. Like something unseen had shifted. He walked to his car, gripping the small toy spaceship in his hand. The weight of it was real, tangible. But Daniel, had he been real? That night, Keanu sat on his balcony again, sipping tea, the spaceship resting on the table beside him. He unlocked his phone, scrolling back to the mysterious message. It was still there, but when he tried to reply, the number had disappeared. No record of it ever existing. A sudden breeze stirred the curtains. The air felt charged, alive. And then, just for a second, he swore he heard it. A faint, childlike laugh carried on the wind. He didn't move, didn't speak, just closed his eyes and smiled. The stars twinkled above, one in particular shining just a little brighter than the rest. Keanu sat there for a long time, watching the sky, his fingers lightly tracing the edges of the toy spaceship. The night was silent, but he could feel something, an unspoken presence, a warmth that lingered despite the cold air. The next morning, as he stepped out of his apartment, a familiar voice called out to him, "Hey, mister!" Keanu turned sharply. There, standing on the sidewalk, was a boy. Not just any boy. Daniel. Keanu's breath caught in his throat. Daniel looked perfectly healthy, wearing a bright blue hoodie and jeans. He grinned, hands stuffed into his pockets, eyes filled with life. "Daniel," Keanu whispered, stepping closer. The boy chuckled. "Took you long enough to notice me." Keanu frowned slightly. "But the hospital. The doctor said you weren't there, Daniel shook his head. "I was there, for a while, but I had to go somewhere else first. You helped me find my way back." Keanu stared, trying to make sense of it. "Back? From where?" Daniel just smiled. "That doesn't really matter, does it?" He pointed at the toy spaceship still clutched in Keanu's hand. "I think that belongs to me." Keanu slowly handed it over. As soon as Daniel's fingers touched it, the air around them shifted, just slightly, like a ripple in time. The boy looked up at Keanu one last time, eyes full of something ancient, something knowing. "Thanks for everything, Keanu." And then, in the blink of an eye, he was gone. No sound. No movement. Just an empty street where he had stood. The spaceship was no longer in Keanu's hands. It had disappeared along with him. Keanu exhaled, running a hand through his hair. He wasn't scared. He wasn't confused. He just understood. Looking up at the sky, he smiled. "Yeah, safe travels, kid." And far above, one star twinkled brighter than all the rest.